We are live for the Gameweek 24 deadline stream. There is just over half an hour until the deadline. The deadline is at 11 AM UK time. As you can see on screen, bench Almiron, Matoma or Martinelli. I would bench Almiron. Matoma has a good fixture against Fulham, and Martinelli is probably, even though he is a minutes risk, I mean, he has a very good fixture against Aston Villa, and I'd be very, very surprised if Trossard starts ahead of Martinelli. I think Almiron against Liverpool at home. Yeah, Liverpool have been poor, but it's just not the type of fixture that I would back for Almiron. Thoughts on Rashford captain? Yeah, that's a good one actually. Because we can take a look at the predicted points, because that can kind of give us a better idea. So obviously this was before the news that Reece James isn't in the squad for the Southampton game, but as you can see, it's actually De Bruyne leading the predicted points, with Haaland just behind him. Obviously Nottingham Forest away is an extremely good fixture, regardless of how good Nottingham Forest have been. And then Rashford is also the only player up there that isn't a City player, and he has 5.54 projected points. If I'm being honest, I'm not convinced about Rashford captain, and I know he has been in amazing form, but I would just back City against Nottingham Forest more than I would back Man United against Leicester. That's what it comes down to for me. And I think since City's win against Arsenal, they're going to be extremely hungry and, you know, aggressive, and they're going to want to win every single game. So I feel like that Nottingham Forest fixture could be a complete whitewash. And to be fair to Leicester, they put in a strong performance against Spurs, completely demolished Spurs actually. And obviously it's also quite a quick turnaround for Man United. So that's another thing to consider, I should say. It's a pretty quick turnaround. Like, they're playing the early fixture on Sunday at 2 o'clock. So it's going to be interesting though, because this Aston Villa fixture for Arsenal is a must-win game. You know, if we're considering the Premier League, their position in the league, and the title, I mean, it is a must-win game. So Arteta's going to start his strongest team, and you would argue that Martinelli is part of that strongest team. It's interesting to see Kane up there again. Good fixture against West Ham at home. Perisic, I would avoid. Cucurella, I'm pretty sure he's also not in the squad for the Southampton game, so he's another one to ignore. But it's fascinating that Reece James was the highest there of the projected points, and only 13% ownership. I had him starting. Like, I really thought this was going to be you know, his week. It would help me a lot, get a big jump in rank, but unfortunately not. So at the minute I'm lining up with Kepa in nets, then Trippier, White and Shaw in the back line, and then Rashford, De Bruyne, Martinelli and Andreas as the fourth midfielder over Almiron, and also Botman, who's on the bench. And then in the attack we have Kane, Haaland and Nketiah. Pretty strong team this week, I think. Last week I got very unlucky. I ended up benching Shaw against Leeds, which in order to start Botman against Bournemouth, which on paper seemed like the right decision, I would argue. I mean, yeah, I just thought it was the right decision, but pardon me, unfortunately ended up on the wrong side of that decision. I'll make Rashford my vice captain. So on the bench we have Danny Ward, Botman, Almiron and James. I can't see Danny Ward actually starting in my team for quite a while. I mean, his next his next 5 fixtures are Man United, Arsenal, Southampton, Chelsea and Brentford. Whereas Kepa's, would you bench Andreas or Mitoma? I would bench Andreas. Mitoma is at home, which is a big thing. And Mitoma's in amazing form at the minute. And I would also argue that if, see, this is the thing, if Mitrovic is a doubt, obviously Andreas is going to be on penalties, which would increase his appeal. But I think if you're just looking at Mitoma and Andreas, apart from everything else that goes into it, I would start Mitoma and I would bench Andreas. I'm currently starting Andreas, but that's because my only other options on the bench are Almiron or Botman, and neither of them appeal to me, so that's what I would do. Hamid says, play Kepa or Sanchez. Play Kepa. Southampton at home. If we look at the clean sheet odds, here we go. Look at the clean sheet odds. Chelsea are ahead in the clean sheet odds by a country mile, with a 52% chance of keeping a clean sheet at home at Stamford Bridge. So start Kepa, definitely. Maybe a bit radical, but Bueno over Trippier. See, this is the thing, and I've seen a lot of discussion about whether to start Trippier or not. It's the thing is, when Trippier is so highly owned, you're really you're 100% banking on that Wolves get a clean sheet. Now, as you can see, 45% chance of getting a clean sheet. So, I mean, that's good. But as we saw in the Newcastle fixture, Bournemouth did score. Newcastle against Bournemouth did score. And we also have to remember that Liverpool have not been in great form. So, I would say start Bueno if you really are desperate for an upside. But if you're happy kind of with where you are and you feel like you can maybe attack the game week in other places, then start Trippier, because we know how good he is. He's on set pieces, he's on free kicks, well, he's on corners, he's a bonus point magnet. Liverpool have struggled at times. Newcastle are also at home, which is a big thing. Liverpool won't have the Anfield kind of assistance this week. So it's a hard one, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of taking kind of risks like that. I would just start Trippier. But if you have nothing to lose, then start Bueno, because it could be a big shout. It really could. If we actually look at the scout selection for this week, that'll be interesting. So obviously, again, this is without taking into consideration that Reece James is not in the squad for the Southampton game. So in nets they've gone with Raya, with Crystal Palace at home. Then James, obviously, who isn't in the squad anymore. Gabriel. Dawson against Bournemouth at home. That's actually an interesting choice. I might actually support your Bueno shout too. Trippier's actually not in the back line, which makes sense if it's a scout selection, because obviously extremely difficult fixture against Liverpool. Then we have Saka, Mahrez, Rashford captain and Mitoma. I think it's interesting that they've gone Rashford captain over Haaland. I just find that fascinating, to be fair. I don't know if I'm convinced about Rashford captain, and even the projected points would still put Haaland above Rashford. But that midfield is strong. I mean, Saka is in great form, Mahrez is in great form, Rashford in great form, and then Mitoma is in great form. And then the front line consists of Haaland, Kane and Tony. If I could, that would probably be the front three I would have this week. That would be close to the team I would have this week. Although, if I could, I would probably go Mahrez, or KDB instead of Mahrez. And then I would start I would start Kepa instead of Raya in nets because Chelsea's clean sheet odds are a lot higher. But again, you have to remember that Southampton will have the new manager bounce, so if you believe in stuff like that, then it could be a difficult one for Chelsea this week. Yeah, we'll take a look at the goal scorer odds. I don't think we've looked at them. So here's the game week goal scorer odds. Haaland, of course, leads the way with a 47% chance of scoring any time in game week 24. Kane is second with 37%. Then we have Rashford, Tony, Wilson, Mahrez, Nketiah, Salah, Havertz, Felix, Isaac, Mitrovic. Felix is actually an interesting one that I wanted to talk about. So if we go back to the main page and we take a look at Chelsea's next few fixtures. So obviously this week they have Southampton at home, then Spurs away, then Leeds at home, then Leicester, Everton, Aston Villa, Wolves, Brighton. I mean, those next 5 to 6 fixtures are extremely good, and you would expect Felix to get a majority of minutes in those next few fixtures. So I think he's definitely one to watch, especially this weekend. I mean, if I was feeling really, really dangerous, I would go for him. He, in the Champions League, he missed like 3 good chances that he should have scored, so he could have had a hat-trick against Dortmund. And he just looks extremely dangerous. I wonder I'm not sure what his ownership is at the minute, but it's definitely something to consider going forward. You know, even if you wanted to go Rashford to Felix next week or something like that, obviously Tottenham away isn't the best fixture, but then you've got Leeds, Leicester and Everton, whilst United play Liverpool, Southampton and Brighton, so it's one of those to consider. I just think Felix is definitely somebody to keep an eye on this week, and don't be surprised if he scores. Mohammed said thanks for no problem, Mohammed, have a good game week, good luck. So yeah, Felix is definitely one to keep an eye on because he looked extremely dangerous in the Champions League, and he's also on the predicted points, or sorry, goal scorer odds, with a 28.5% chance of scoring any time this week. The front three are obviously what you'd expect with Haaland, Kane and Rashford. Tony also up there. Wilson is also a kind of surprise. I mean, on his day, yes, maybe, but a lot of the time he's injured. I think he missed Newcastle's most recent game through to illness or injury. The goal scorer odds like Mahrez a lot, and Mahrez is a tough one because I've been burned so many times before by Mahrez that I've kind of been put off by him now. I can never bring myself to go for him because I always just feel like he's in a risk, and especially with the Champions League back, you know, it'd be interesting to see how his minutes get affected, because as we know, Pep always likes to play Mahrez in the Champions League more than the Premier League, so that's definitely one to consider if you do have Mahrez. I think he's a perfectly fine option for this week, but don't be surprised if in the future he drops out. I didn't even realise that João Felix is a striker. I forgot. I thought he was a midfielder. See, that makes it a wee bit different, because if he is a striker, then, you know, I'd have to either move him out for one of these three, which I really don't want to do. Like, Nketiah's next few fixtures are perfect. Obviously, we don't know when Jesus is going to be back, so pardon me, we have to keep an eye out on that. But yeah, if you say, for example, you have Mitrovic or even Tony after this week, I would go for Felix. I would definitely consider him. But if you have a kind of a same lineup as me, then I think it's slightly harder. my opinion. So yeah, I think I'm also going to roll the transfer for this week if I haven't already stated that. I just don't think my team needs to make a transfer this week. Obviously Martinelli is a concern and having to play Andreas isn't ideal, but I think I'm going to just back this team one more week, and then going into game week 25 in the blanks, I'll have 2 free transfers and have a lot more freedom to make moves and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to roll the transfer for this week. I'm deciding to start Andreas over Botman and Almiron as well, because I don't know. I think Liverpool will score. I do. And Almiron's an interesting one, because like he did so well for me last week. But I'm gonna start Andreas. I just hope for the best. I think I should tweet out my team and let everybody know that I've decided to roll the transfer, even though nobody cares. That was very loud. Game week 24, rolled the transfer. Wait, I'm going to change these two. I should probably put Almiron ahead of James. Well, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, I'll do that. I just have this feeling now that since the early Chelsea team news was leaked, that Potter could just go screw it and just start James or something. Because it is crazy when you consider that the team news for Chelsea was leaked like 18 hours before the actual game. Like, whoever's leaking that information needs to get found out, because that's like, can you imagine that happened like in a big game against Liverpool or Dortmund or something? You know, that's really important information. If your opposite team knows they don't need to worry about like some of your best players. Like, I don't know how to feel about that, and it's clearly coming from somebody inside the Chelsea club, so it's really interesting. And obviously, it's not the fault of the people that leak it, like Sam or Team News and Ticks, because they're just relaying information that they got. The fault is on the actual people that give these people the information. That's the way I see it. But yeah, I have decided to roll the transfer. I just tweeted it. Tweet here. Link. Put it in the chat. If you don't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter at FPLFatherTed. That's what I'll be tweeting when I go live, when I'm planning to stream. Well, that's the same thing. When I'm posting videos, how my team did at the end of the game week. Obviously, this game week wasn't particularly good for us, as I took quite a big red arrow, 20% red arrow, down to 89k. So that was unfortunate. But I mean, what can you do? It was a weird game week for everybody, and if I had started Shaw, then I would have had actually a green arrow, so it was just that fine margin. I thought benching Shaw on paper looked like the best option, but unfortunately it turned out to not be the case. And if you do enjoy the stream, please do like it. It helps me out a lot. And also, if you're new to the channel, then please do subscribe. I try to post 2 to 3 videos every week. So yeah, they're short content, straight to the point, about 5 to 6 minutes. So if you like that type of content, then please do subscribe and make sure to check out my videos. I'd appreciate it a lot. But yeah, how long do we have to the deadline? What's that, 18 minutes? So 18 minutes until the deadline. My team is locked in. I'm rolling the transfer this week. No need to make a transfer, and I can attack the Game Week 25 blanks. I'm not entirely sure yet what I'm going to do. I think if I'm being honest, it'll either be Shaw or Rashford, or even, well, Shaw or Botman or Almiron, probably, that will make way. And I might even consider taking a hit. I haven't actually took a hit at all this year. So if I really want to attack the kind of, well, I need to sort out my team. I think my team's got to the point where it's starting to need a wild card, and that's because I have people like Almiron, Botman maybe, Shaw, White, who obviously was benched for the City game, Martinelli and Andreas. Like, my team's hanging on by a thread, I would argue. And a lot of it's dependent on, their minutes aren't really nailed anymore, especially with White. Martinelli for sure. Having to start Andreas isn't ideal, but it's not the end of the world. And then Botman and Almiron have the blank in 25, and then play Man City straight after. So there are two fixtures that I'll look to avoid. So I'm definitely going to attack the Gameweek 25 blank. Try and sort out my team. I'm not entirely sure yet when I'm going to wildcard and free hit, but I think it's going to be closer to, Game Week 30, Game Week 29, etc. Try and hold on a bit longer. But yeah. I'm going to throw up the projected points again if you're still struggling to make a decision on who to captain this week. My captaincy is on Haaland. I have seen people consider Rashford. I'm not overly convinced with Rashford this week. I just think Haaland against Nottingham Forest is a far better fixture, and I'd back Haaland this week because at times, he could just turn around and get a hat-trick this week, because that's what he does. Also, the goal scorer odds, if you want to take a look at those, Haaland leading the way as usual. Kane, Rashford as well. Kane could be a big one this week. I wonder what his ownership is. I'm not entirely sure what his ownership is, but the thing with Kane is, it's actually good when he blanks in a way, because then more people are happy enough to sell him. But like with his next three fixtures, if we take a look here, his next few fixtures are extremely good. West Ham at home, Chelsea at home is obviously a difficult one, but then Wolves, Nottingham Forest, Southampton, Everton, Brighton and Bournemouth. I mean, those next 6 fixtures are just amazing, and the more people sell him, the better. He's only 38.1 owned, which is interesting. I mean, obviously he takes... Oh god. Obviously he takes up a lot of funds. But I mean, he does consistently return. Like if we look, 2, 8, 6, 5, 2, 16, 2, 7, 11, 8. Like every other game he's returning. Like literally every other game he returns, if not more. Obviously that Leicester one was a disappointment, but I mean, fixture against West Ham at home, even a penalty or something would be good. I wonder if the projected points gives Kane in them. Yeah, 38% ownership for Kane, which is extremely low for somebody like Kane who has been consistently returning this season. So it's definitely one to consider if you don't have him already, because his next few fixtures look incredibly good. So this is how I line up for game week 24, locked in, ready to go. 12 minutes until the deadline. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I'll do my best to try help out. There shouldn't be any kind of difficulties with starting people this week, I don't think. I mean, it's pretty obvious with a lot of the decision, I would argue. I think a lot of people will be rolling the transfer. So let me know if you actually, what your plans are for this game week, if you're making transfers or not. Appreciate all the likes in the stream. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in. There isn't a lot to talk about this week because there's no kind of, well, actually I'll check and see if there's any kind of interesting team news about Arsenal. Wonder if there is. No. Although apparently Partey didn't arrive with the squad yesterday. That's something to keep in mind. I don't know if we get any early Arsenal team news. I've just seen a tweet from Team News and Text. He's tweeted, few people have asked about Arsenal news pre-deadline. I think there's no chance. I've never seen the Arsenal team leaked more than 75 minutes before kick-off when the team sheets comes out. Probably will guess it for followers interaction, but I wouldn't be people will probably guess it for followers interaction, but I wouldn't be trusting anyone. Right, so there's an account here, FPL South. Freelance journalist, ex-FPL content creator, who's tweeted that Trossard and White start. Oh dear, I hope that's not true. I hope that's not true, because that will create a headache for me. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit of an issue if Martinelli's benched, or even if Nketiah is benched. But there's no point making a transfer. I mean, I'll just stick it out. Whatever happens, happens. But according to one account on here, Trossard starts and White starts. So that if Trossard starts, then it's either Martinelli, probably, or Nketiah that will be benched. So Who benched? So according to this account on Twitter with 12,000 followers, I don't know how much to believe here. It's saying that Trossard starts and White starts. So if Trossard starts, that would mean to me that Martinelli or Nketiah are benched. That's how I would see that. But obviously, that could be a complete guess from that account, and they're just doing it for interactions. But according to that account, Trossard starts and White starts. So if Trossard starts, then you're looking at Martinelli or Nketiah being dropped, which obviously isn't good for me because I have both Martinelli and Nketiah, which is definitely a concern. But there's no point trying to make changes now. I'm just, better seeing what happens and going with it. But yeah, according to this account, Trossard and White starts. Just keep that in mind if you own Martinelli or Nketiah. But obviously don't make moves based on that news either, because we have nothing definite, and even Team News and Ticks, which is probably the most reliable for early team news, has said that a lot of people will just tweet team news for interactions per meet this week. There is 6 minutes until the deadline, so make sure you've logged your team in. Five minutes until the deadline. 5 minutes. My team's locked in. My dog is going completely mental in the background for some reason, so ignore him. Now he's just left. Came in, made some noise, and then left. I'm going to check again on Twitter just to see if we've got any early team news for Arsenal, who obviously start. Right, so Andy's just tweeted something. Right, this is. So Andy's tweeted, like I said on stream, the only verification I have is the party news coming to me on Tuesday rather than Wednesday that was Trossard in for Martinelli. So Trossard in for Martinelli, right. Shit, right. Maybe I should I... Right, if Trossard's in for Martinelli, should I bench Martinelli and start Almiron? Oh, I don't know what to do now. Rate my team: Kepa, Shaw, Trippier, Ake, Bruno, Rashford, Saka, Odegaard, Kane, and Nketiah, Haaland. Extremely good team. I like that team a lot, although as I'm just currently seeing on Twitter, there's a chance that either Martinelli or Nketiah has been benched. There's a chance either Martinelli or Nketiah has been benched. I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. So according to this tweet from Andy, if I can bring it across so we can see it. He says, so there's this tweet that says, so this is from someone at the club. I've never had info from them before, but I trust them but don't know how reliable it is. I benched Eddie, I'm starting Martinelli, but please make your own decisions. And then this account says, seems to suggest Trossard is in for Nketiah rather than Martinelli. So if your source said Trossard, they could both be true. and Andy replied to this saying, "Like I said on stream, the only verification I have is the party news coming to me on Tuesday rather than Wednesday." So Andy got team news a day before on party from this source, and then it says that has Trossard in for Martinelli, otherwise same team. Do I bench Martinelli? Fuck. You know what? I think I'm just gonna leave it as is. And I'll just have Almiron first sub. Leave the team as it is and have Almiron first sub. I think. Yeah, I would need something more definite than kind of this back and forth. Somebody saying one thing and somebody saying another thing. I need more kind of confirmation. And even if Martinelli is benched, he'll get half an hour, and in half an hour, who knows, he could come back and score. Will be on the bench, so won't he? It's a minute until the deadline. Right, make sure to lock your teams in. Minute until the deadline. I'm just going to lock my team in with this. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm doing it. Fuck, do I want to do this or not? That save. I don't know if it's saved. Right, team's locked in. I don't know if that's saved. I just started Almiron ahead of Martinelli. I don't know if it's saved or not. Oh dear. Right, that's it. The deadline's been hit. It's 11 PM. I really hope Martinelli's benched now. And if he's not benched, I really hope that didn't go through. Oh dear. It's going to be a painful wait until wait, don't tell me Almiron's injured. I've just seen this. I haven't been following much this week because what is this? Bro, why can't I see this? Oh, I don't want a video. Can you not just tell me? Why won't it even tell me? I think Almiron's alright. I hope so anyway. I hope he is. So yeah, deadline's over. Game week 24 locked in. I don't exactly know what my team looks like. Unfortunately, but this on Twitter. On Twitter, if I can find the tweet, I'll show you what my team looks like. You just know what my team looks like. Obviously, last second I decided to start Almiron over Martinelli. I don't know if it did go through or not. So that's going to be interesting to wait and see what it lines up with. Obviously, 30 minutes until the Arsenal team news is announced as well. But yeah, it's really not ideal. Not ideal. Having Martinelli isn't ideal. I mean, I considered taking a minus to get Odegaard or Saka in, and I wish I had done it. And I think it just proves that sometimes it's good taking a minus in order to get players in, especially if your team's looking weak. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for the stream this week. Appreciate everybody that stopped by. Again, if you did enjoy the stream, please do drop a like. Subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter at FPLFatherTed, where I'll be tweeting when I'm posting videos and when I'm going live. I usually post 2 to 3 times a week on YouTube, kind of short content. So if you do find that type of content entertaining, then please do check out my stuff and let me know what you think. Trying to hit 200 subscribers soon, so any help towards that would be appreciated. This is my final team on screen. I've lined up with Kepa, Trippier, White, Shaw, Rashford, De Bruyne. I think in the last second I decided to start Almiron instead of Martinelli, and then Andreas, Kane, Haaland and Nketiah. So it'll be interesting to see the Arsenal team news. I think the Arsenal team news could kind of depict how my team or how my week goes a lot this week. So yeah, appreciate everybody that stopped by. That's going to do it for this week. It's deadline stream. The transfer tips video will be going live on Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure which day yet, but make sure to keep an eye out for that, because it'll be interesting discussing some players ahead of the game week 25 blanks. So yeah, I appreciate everybody that stopped by, and good luck this game week is basically all I'm going to say. Good luck this game week, and hopefully the Arsenal team news is kind to us because I'm not feeling confident, and I'm really worried now that I started Almiron instead of my transfer didn't go through. I would love, if I did start Almiron, I would love him to score, because he was a massive differential for me last week and he could do the same for me this week. But I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let everybody go. Appreciate everybody that stopped by. Appreciate the likes in the stream. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at FPLFatherTed. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 200 subscribers in the near future. I post 2 to 3 times a week, short form content, you know, that type of style, 5 to 6 minute videos. If you do find that type of content interesting, then please do check out the channel, and I wish everybody the best of luck for the game week. And yeah, see you in the next one on Monday or Tuesday for the transfer tips video. Bye bye.